Hi, everybody. Good Wednesday evening to you. It's Region Weather Meteorologist Matt Wintz back in the comfort of the Region Weather Center, as we'll call it here, just for a little bit. I got to get back to work. But anyway, just wanted to give you an update, not so much on temperatures or anything like that. I want to talk about rainfall because a lot of you have been messaging, hey, when are we getting rain? I know we have to plan for rain, when we have weekends and events and stuff like that. But a lot of us, have gone dry. And in terms of the ground and the summer and the heat and all that, it's starting to take a toll. So we don't want to get into a drought situation. Latest drought monitor comes out tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then we're going to look long term in the forecast to look for any sign of rain that we have around here. So we're going to talk a little bit more about rain and drought. And we'll give you extended forecasts as well. All in this Wednesday evening edition of Region Weather Live. If that doesn't get you going, I don't know what does. Good stuff. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I know we just met 2 days ago, but we've got some new information to talk about. So I want to get you up to date on the latest of that. Hi, Carl. Thanks for joining us tonight. Hi, Mary. Hi, Vicky from the Hobart area. Jeff, hi. I know we need to talk about it, buddy. Mark is asking for some rain for the fireworks. That's so true. We get all these people letting fireworks off. We don't need dry ground. That virtually, can easily catch on fire with anything. Relative humidity plays a role with that as well. Hi, Jay. Amy, I'm glad you liked the new intro. We try to go as corny and newsy as possible because that is not at all what we are. So I thought it'd be good. Rose, hello from Lowell. Ann, I'm glad you liked the intro as well. And Ethan and Gail and Deshaun and Jay and Diane from LaPorte. Hello. Thanks for joining us, you guys. Okay, let's get to the maps. Here's what I want to talk about. First, let's thank our sponsors, Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valparaiso. Pay them a visit if you get a chance. They've got all sorts of vehicles on the lot, but they specialize in Jeeps. I mean, everyone loves a Jeep, and they've got Jeeps out the wazoo in terms of, tops off, all that stuff. I know I'm getting kind of weird with that, but it's Jeep season around Northwest Indiana, and there's no better place to get it than Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. So pay them a visit. Tell them Region Weather sent you. Also, Tiger Plumbing gave us a wonderful tip this week on putting Drano down the drain that's clogged. I quizzed one of my coworkers about it, and she would do what I would do, was just put Drano. If something's not working right, you never want to do that because it does eat away at the pipes. You want to get a professional plumber in there. They typically use a snake, a longer one than you can find at the stores, and they do a great job. And I can speak from experience that we had that done here. But tigerplumbing.net is where to go for Northwest Indiana plumber. They don't charge trip fees, so they come out for free, analyze the problem. A lot of places charge you just to come out and tell you what your problem is. All right. So we've had many wonderful responses out of people that have used them. So Tiger Plumbing and tigerplumbing.net is their website. Okay. In terms of the drought, you guys, this is the drought monitor that we've got right now. On Thursdays, they issue a new drought monitor. So basically what we're looking at is where there's drought in the U.S. We've heard for, a year and a half, 2 years now, there's been drought out west, and there is, and it's really bad still. The darkest shade there that you see is the exceptional drought. That's usually anywhere from 10 to 15 or more inches below average in terms of the water table and all that. They've had some relief. We get a new drought monitor out tomorrow. So what I would expect to change, we may see this drought kind of poked away at in New Mexico. They've gotten some really good rain from the monsoon season, which just started. I think areas of the upper Midwest up towards South Dakota, they've seen a little bit of rain the last week or so. So we may see some relief there. Otherwise, the western drought's going to stay pretty much the same. What's going to change locally is out here in the plains, especially Illinois and Indiana. We have gone dry, as you all know. But in terms of this map, it doesn't show it right. We may see this yellow shade or the abnormally dry category creep up tomorrow, and we may be under that, slight drought that they would call it, where we could use anywhere from 1 to about 5 inches of rain to make things right around here. The thing is, and so that's going to get issued tomorrow. We'll talk about that tomorrow when it comes out. But the thing is, we don't want to get into any worse drought than that. What we're dealing with right now can be made up for with, a pocket of showers and thunderstorms that just pops over the region. That's from experience, what I've seen happen in the past where, let's say we're dry the rest of June, which it looks like right now. 4th of July holiday, somewhere around there, we get a frontal boundary in here. And what's happened in the past when we've had dry ends, we've seen big areas of showers and thunderstorms that develop along either a lake breeze or some kind of storm system coming in, and they can put down 2, 3, 4 inches of rain, and then we're made up for, right? Everything's fine. That's not how we want to get the rain, but that's oftentimes what happens. So it's not an irreversible thing that we're dealing with right now. I want a lot of you to know that because I do get a lot of messages on this. This is something that we can pop out of with a couple good thunderstorm clusters. The problem is, as we look forward towards the maps, that we're not going to see a lot of rain over the next 7 to 10 days as it looks right now. So our chances that we have, we need to squeak out as much as we can because rain is going to be a good thing, at least for the next week or two, if we can get some. So what we're looking at here, this is a map I haven't showed you guys yet. This is basically over the last 7 days, what the anomaly is versus average. So areas in brown, that's where we have had below average rainfall just over the last week. And you see some of the numbers. It's not just us, it's all of Indiana. We're dealing with anywhere from, it's right around an inch. Most of us have had about a shortage of an inch of rain just in the last week. If we go back the last 14 days, you'll see that trend continues as we have numbers around Northwest Indiana, generally an inch to inch and a half below average. We have had some rain downstate from thunderstorms. You notice Wisconsin's got a nice surplus there as well. But overall, you know, we are dry and we could have used about an inch and a half of rain over the last week and a half to 2 weeks that we did not get. As we go back to the 30-day, this is the one that really matters in terms of your gardens. Your gardens are really rely week to week, right? But this is the one that determines your gardens and the crops in terms of that water table down below, so that if we go dry here at the surface, at least it can tap into some of that moisture from down below. There's not a lot down below because what we've got going on is a very, very dry pattern here, especially across Lake Porter and LaPorte counties over the last 30 days, where we're running 1 to 2 inches below average. Some of the highest numbers on here, you see Illinois, especially the southern half of the state, dealing with deficits of anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of rain. And then you see this little pocket here, areas of Newton and Jasper County. We got a thunderstorm cluster. This was almost a month ago that produced rain there, but nowhere else. And so you're actually dealing with a surplus, believe it or not, barely in Newton, Jasper, even portions of southern Stark County. And that's for the last 30 days. Bottom line, we could use the rain, especially those of you in Lake, Porter, and LaPorte counties, and even northern Stark County. That's where we've really been the driest over the last week. So I want to show you two things. We'll talk about rain chances next 10 days. I also want to talk about this. This is the jet stream. Remember, this tracks weather systems across the country. And where that jet stream is right here, right where this kind of brownish maroon color turns into some of the reds. Notice how far north it is. This is what happens this time of year. The jet stream is the driver of storm systems. That's where all the action is. You get the strong areas of low pressure. You get the strong cold fronts, you know, with the big temperature swings and all that. This time of year, it goes north. It goes into Canada. We settle into this tropical atmosphere down towards the south, and there's not a lot of movement to the atmosphere. I know we've gotten some fronts through here the last couple of days, but what happens when you have that jet stream so far to the north, it basically cuts off Gulf of Mexico moisture. Yeah, we get it sometimes, but it's really hard to produce rain June, July, and August until that jet stream comes back. We rely on thunderstorms, which don't produce rain evenly, right? Your neighbor gets it, you don't. That's kind of the trend that happens in the summer, right? The other thing we rely on are the tropics, believe it or not. Even here in Indiana, a lot of times the southeast down towards Texas, they go dry this time of year, you know, as expected. Sometimes they'll get daily thunderstorms, but if they don't, with the high pressure, they go dry. And oftentimes some kind of hurricane or tropical storm or tropical depression will move in, and that'll transport that tropical moisture via rain into areas that desperately need it. And sometimes those can make their way up into Northwest Indiana, and that can help us out and get us out of a drought. So watch what happens as we go through next week. This is tomorrow. I'm just going to take you through the jet stream pattern. Notice it stays to the north. That'll keep us on the warmer side. Right here on Friday, Saturday, there's a little system that'll zip by. That's our next chance of rain Saturday into Sunday. The bulk of the activity is going to be off towards the north with this strong area of low pressure in southern Canada. We get kind of the weak stuff below it. But again, that is our next chance of rain. It's Saturday, Sunday. That's what we've been thinking in terms of the forecast. And in terms of the timing, it looks like we may get a little bit of rain both days, depending on how these storms evolve. And then we go kind of dry next week. The jet stream goes way off towards the north again, the heat building back towards the west. You can see how we get a little dip here, may bring some kind of frontal boundary in here next week. But bottom line, and the point of this map that I wanted to show you is the fact that we've got a jet stream that is way off towards the north. That jet stream is the driver of our weather patterns, and that is typical for this time of year. All right, so let's get into the specifics. I want to zoom in for you. This is the last thing we'll go over here, and this is going to be your rain chances over the next 10 days. We do have a shot, and that shot, again, it kind of looked like there was going to be this cluster of storms that came in here on Friday night. It looked promising on the models last 2 days, but that has kind of faded. It looks like it's going to stay off towards the west, more towards Iowa. Our best chance is going to be Saturday. And again, this isn't a washout. A lot of you have Saturday plans. There's events going on across the region. And, I know you don't want rain for those, right? It'd be nice if it could fall during the week. But it does look like Saturday. We do have a chance of some storms around here. But again, it doesn't look like a washout or anything like that. So here's our little cluster of storms that looked promising at least last couple days. This one that forms in Iowa. This is Friday during the day. Things could change. Let's hope the models change and maybe we bring some of this rain in here. But it does look like it's going to fade off towards our west Friday night. Saturday, that frontal boundary starts to approach. There'll likely be more storms that develop during the day Saturday off towards our west. And then watch how they kind of move in here. At least this model's take into Saturday evening. So this is more of an afternoon evening event. And again, it's not a big cluster of storms that looks to really hold together, but hopefully we can get some kind of rain out of it. We'll have a better idea of how that evolves in terms of what that thunderstorm cluster looks like. Probably Thursday into Friday, we'll have a good idea of what's going to happen. And then here's Sunday. By all means, it looks like the front's by us on Sunday, but if the models tend to be a little bit slower next couple of days, we could have some lingering storm chances, mainly in our eastern counties as it looks right now Sunday. I would probably still lean dry in the forecast, but the front has slowed down a little bit, so at least there's a chance for that. If we don't get any rain this weekend, we're going to go another few days without it. There is that frontal boundary that I talked about. It's going to kind of drape itself across the Great Lakes. You see it here. This is Wednesday and a Thursday next week, so we're going to go probably another 3 or 4 days without rain. And this will likely have clusters of storms that form and kind of roll along it, ridge riders as we call them. So, if we can squeak some of those in here, that'd be great. As of right now, most of the models have that happening off towards the north, but we'll see. Again, the models, they can change, especially that long out. So in terms of precip over the next 10 days, this takes us through July 2nd. It's not looking promising. You see where kind of that area is that doesn't see a lot. It happens to be right over the region into Ohio, southern Illinois, down towards Arkansas and Oklahoma. That storm track, depending on where that frontal boundary lines up next week, would be off towards the north. That's why you see the higher totals there. But overall, it does look dry. But can we break this with a thunderstorm or something like that Saturday night into Sunday? Whenever that happens to be, we certainly could. So that's all I got for you in terms of a forecast tonight. Hope that helps, but I know that we could certainly use it, and I'm hoping for it as well. All right. All right, so let's see what we've got here. I'll answer your questions, and then we'll get you going here on this Wednesday evening, midweek, right? Kathy, hi from Winfield. Jay says he washed his truck and has to rain. Yeah, Jay, that's usually a good predictor, buddy. If you wash your truck or you wash your car, it usually rains shortly after. It's funny, I have a coworker who runs his sprinklers, and he literally put on it the Matt Wind sprinkle system or whatever, sprinkler forecaster. If he runs his sprinklers and we have a chance of rain the next day, it always rains. If he doesn't run them, it doesn't rain the next day. And it's like 9 out of 10. It's crazy. So I'd be curious what your truck forecast would be for sure. Carl has a really nice looking lawn. He says it's the color of toast right now, Carl. Oh, I feel it. It's got that crunchy feel too. I know. Ours is turning pretty brown here too. Robin, not necessarily. So Robin's asking about the burn warnings that they have in the West. Will we have stuff like that? I don't think so, Robin. And the reason why is because out West, they have very low relative humidity. And you know that. They call it a dry heat out there. There's typically not a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. It's not humid out there. And because of that, fire can spread a lot faster than it can here because of the humidity. It does make a difference. And so because it's so darn dry out there and they have the drought on top of it, they've got all sorts of burn warnings and fire weather warnings and stuff like that. Let's see. Ann says, can we go in a fire ban for campers at the dunes? And I'm not sure if I know what that means. I don't think I know what that means. Maybe a fire ban is what you're asking. Like, should we issue a fire ban? I don't think we're at that point yet, Anne. I really don't. People just need to be careful for sure. Yeah, and Russ is talking about how dry it is, 1-inch cracks in our parks that they mow. Yeah, I feel you on that. And I think people just need to be responsible. Again, the humidity at least is up. I know we've got some drier air in here now, but we're at least going to have some humidity over the next couple days that will help with that. And we're not to that point yet where it's really, really bad. Like, again, we can come out of this. It's just we're in that transition where it's like, oh boy, are we going there or are we going to get out of this? We're in that transition spot right now. Mark, I did. I just got my hair cut, like just now. I came home today between shows. I've got to go back and do the 11, but I came home between shows and my hair was just getting so long. And so my wife cuts it. She's been cutting it since quarantine and she cut it really short this time. I was like, babe, I don't know. It's like too short on this side, but I don't really care. It's just hair. So yeah, I'm glad you noticed. Thank you. Diane, in terms of more thunderstorms, no one can predict that. We can't predict if there's going to be, if that's in terms of what they're talking about, more thunderstorms. That's not something that can be predicted. Maybe we heard about, or maybe what you're referencing, Diane, is in terms of tropical systems, and that could be what you're talking about as well. Is hurricanes, tropical storms, and it certainly does look like it. It looks like we're set up for a pretty active Atlantic. Last couple of years have been relatively quiet weather-wise, and a lot of it has to do with El Nino and La Nina. But a lot of it has to do with, or some of it has to do with what we dealt with last year, which was a lot of Saharan dust that came off that kind of subdued areas of the Atlantic from really developing anything, kind of put that cap in the atmosphere that we talked about. So we'll see what happens this year in terms of that. But water temperatures are above average where they need to be, to produce some pretty active storm systems. And more importantly, the winds aloft with the fading La Nina do look favorable for a pretty active Atlantic. So we'll see. Maxwell says usually June's a pretty active month for thunderstorms. Maybe next month will change. Maxwell, I feel like we keep saying that, buddy. Hey, spring, we didn't have a lot of severe weather. Maybe summer will be active. And it really has been pretty quiet around here. All things considered, we've had a pretty quiet stretch of weather. So we'll see where we go. Again, that's what makes weather so interesting is that, we can try to predict as far out as we can. We can look at weather patterns and stuff like that. But all in all, we have no idea what July is going to bring. We could talk about, above average temperatures, but that doesn't mean anything on a daily basis. You could have, a cold day here or there, a warm day here and there. And that's what keeps it exciting is that it's always changing. It's always something that we need to follow. And that's why I love it very, very much. It's good stuff. Shauna and Paul, thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate that for sending stars. Thank you. All right, everybody. I'm going to let you go. I got to get back on the road. But I appreciate you joining us here tonight. And as always, just love you guys for all the support. I certainly appreciate it. It means the world to me. Very blessed to be doing this and forecasting for you guys. I hope you get something out of it every single week. That's the whole point. I hope either you learn something or you can plan your weekend around, some of the information that we present here. So that's my hope for it is that, you, the viewer, get something out of this. So I appreciate you joining us. All right. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. We'll talk to you again on Sunday night. We'll have updates on regionweather.com and obviously on our Facebook page. Until then, all right, take it easy.